Hi, Mr. Chin.
So Sydney, I don't know if you've listened to their podcast, but they do this thing called takeaways at the end
Yeah.
where they talk about their guests that they just had on and things that they learned from them. Do you have any takeaways from the Tiger Sisters?
A lot, actually. Like, I thought they were great. You were right. They're so cool.
Aren't they? Yeah, they are really great. And I think you are their prime,
I am their prime audience.
maybe even a little older too, like 18 to 35, I think they said. So,
I think, like, talking to them was very good. Like, I feel like I learned so much. Like, I have so much, like, I'm genuinely their target audience. Like, a
yeah.
sister, like, in college, loves matcha, like, all of
Yeah.
so, like, every single conversation, I was, like, really, like, dialing in. I was like, "Wow," like, I'm learning so much.
Yeah. And they're just super nice. With that much achievement and that much,
Yeah,
accolades, they're just super nice and they're doing this podcast. They're not making any money on this podcast yet, probably.
because
But they're
like,
doing
ad
it.
revenue and such.
I don't even know that much. Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, they're getting bigger every day,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think they're doing it mostly to share and to kind of tell other people. I mean, it's not probably the long-term goals to share everything like that, but I think it's really cool what they're doing. I think like we said during the pod that there's not a ton of people, if any, that really look like them with their experiences and their voice, and so I think it's really great.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask a follow-up question to that because I wanted to know if that, like, what they thought, like, was the link to that. Like, for example, I've heard, like, a lot of people saying, like, intergenerational trauma of, like, not wanting to share outside of family, like,
Mhm.
about practices like that, like
Yeah.
working relationships, like, feelings, things like that. So
Well,
I wanted to see, like, their, like, opinions on that
I
situation.
think I think some of it is kind of like in that world that they're in of high achievement. I
Mhm.
think it's kind of a little bit like too cool for school. You don't want to.
You don't wanna show off.
Yeah, you don't want to, or it's kind of. I don't know what the right word is. Like people might say it's kind of not cool to just talk about mistakes that you've made, or it's not great to expose yourself that much and be vulnerable in the world that they're in. Like of always being top of the top. It's kind of weird to share mistakes and vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So they're doing something that probably a lot of people are just kind of like, why are you doing that? Why would you want to share that?
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely heard that sentiment, especially, like, applying to colleges, where
Mhm.
I, like, did definitely overshare on, like, my personal experiences and my mistakes, and then, like, everyone who read through my essays were like, "Why would you write that?" And I
Yeah.
think it's, like, interesting because I feel like when you don't share that part, you, like, kind of hold everyone to this expectation of, like, not being human in a sense.
Yeah.
So I
Like I
really did enjoy, like, how they were, like, expressing, like, their personal mistakes and, like, just things that they took as learning lessons rather than that. And, like,
Yeah.
highlighting that, yeah, everyone does go through this. It's not like you don't have to be perfect, you just need to learn from everything.
Yeah. Super real. I feel bad. I said their name wrong. I've been saying Lo, but they say Lou. So, oops. So, my bad on that one. But love them. Yeah. So, everyone out there, go check them out. They're doing great stuff. I expect them to be growing every day and bigger and bigger. So, who knows? Like a year from now, they might have been too big for us to actually get them on this podcast. But
But we got
yeah,
them just in time.
you catch them on the way up. You got to catch them on the way up. Yeah. Today, we are speaking with Jean and Cherie Luo, also known as the Tiger Sisters. Jean is a tech executive who has worked at Goldman Sachs, Zynga, Snapchat, and more. Cherie is a content creator who previously worked at LinkedIn. And together, they are the founders of a boutique brand of matcha called Sisters Matcha. And together, they host the podcast Tiger Sisters, where they share lessons they have learned about money, power, and love, and more. Hello, and welcome to the show, Jean and Cherie.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Curtis. Thanks for having us on. We're so excited to be here.
Oh, yeah. No, this has been great. We've been talking about this for a little while, so it's really good to get you on. And Sydney's back. She's done a few episodes with us, so welcome back, Sydney.
Hi guys, really glad to be back. Thank God, first year's over. On to the second.
On to second year. So Sydney is a college kid, so she might have some questions at the end. We'll save hers for the end. Where are you guys calling in from?
We're in Washington right now. We split our time between Washington, most of the time, and then also LA.
Okay, Washington, D.C. or state?
State on the West Coast.
Oh, okay. Where'd you guys grow up?
We're originally from New York, actually. We're East Coasters, so
Uh
we
huh.
grew up on Long Island, spent most of our lives there, and then in adulthood, we both moved west.
Okay. All right. Oh, I didn't know you guys were up in Washington. All right. And did I see that you were just traveling somewhere?
We were in Japan for 2 weeks in May. It was
Okay.
pretty insane. We were there for our first week. We had our first trip with our community, our followers, who we had never met before, so we traveled all around Japan with them for the first week, and then the second week, we went back to our matcha farm, which is in Wazuka, Japan, and spent some time, actually harvesting the matcha for this year's batch.
Wow, this is cool. Is this going to be a regular thing? Doing a little matcha trip with the listeners and fans?
Maybe, that would be really cool. Yeah, this was our first time traveling with our followers, but we go back to the matcha farm every year.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
That's actually incredible. Um, what research do you do, like going into these like matcha farms, like learning about the culture within it?
Oh, so this is the matcha farm where we source our matcha from for our brand Sisters Matcha, and it was actually an internship that started this. I worked and lived on this matcha farm 2 years ago because it was for, a requirement that I had for school. We had to do something international, and, you
Uh,
could either take a class to fulfill this requirement or work abroad, and so, I chose the cooler, more random option and lived and worked on a farm in Japan. And so I lived there and cultivated a really close working relationship with my boss. It's a small family farm, just an hour outside of Kyoto in the countryside. And yeah, like 2 years later, we've been working together, and now he is the provider for our matcha brand.
Wow, that's actually amazing. I was actually thinking about studying, like a lot of other college students. I was thinking about studying abroad to either Taiwan or Japan. I think you may have convinced me to go to Japan.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I didn't go abroad when I was an undergrad student, so that was one of my biggest regrets. Jean went abroad, but so this was my little taste of doing like a little summer abroad.
yeah. Do it, Sid.
Yes, I will. Yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. It changed my life too. When I was maybe between junior and senior year, I went to Asia for the first time. Actually,
Mm.
first time leaving North America, and that totally changed me. Like, I was one of those kids who didn't want to know about my culture, didn't want to learn the language, and just went and just mind blown, eyes opened, and yeah. So Sydney, you definitely you've been to Asia a lot, but you should
Yeah,
definitely.
I just came back from Thailand.
I
That's
mean,
right.
even me in college, I'd studied abroad in Beijing my junior year, and I'd been to China like tons of times. Like growing up, we used to go, all the time to visit our family uh,
Hmm.
in like Hong Kong and in the south of China for the summer times. And like, even though I'd been so many times, the studying abroad experience was so different. And like you said, Curtis, I would say it was totally life changing. So
Yeah.
that's 3 votes.
You gotta do it,
Gotta
Sydney.
do it.
3 for 3. Actually, that slides into our next topic is your ancestral roots. So Guangdong, Guangzhou, Hong Kong,
Yeah, we're
all the
Cantonese.
above.
We're all from Are we all from Hong Kong?
Yeah, we have family in Hong Kong and also in Guangzhou.
Wow.
All right. So when you were growing up, was culture? You sounds like you went back to China quite a bit, but was your Asian culture a pretty big part of your childhood? Did you go to Saturday school? Did you had to speak at home? What were your cultural roots, kind of in the states here?
I love this question. We actually don't get to talk about this too much, like, in general, so I'm happy to share some more. Um,
my answer is like yes and no. Because yes, in the household, we grew up in a single family a home with my mom, a single mother, and she would speak Chinese to us at home, and we would have all like the amazing food she would cook, a lot of Guangdong cai, like a Guangdong like cuisine.
Mhm.
That was an incredible way to grow up and celebrate our culture. But outside of our home, growing up on Long Island, it was a predominantly like very like white neighborhood. And so it was just an interesting mix of like going to school, not like being the only few Asian students
Uh-huh.
in our grade, and then going home and being completely immersed. So it was just a straddling of two worlds.
And you guys are what, about 6 years apart? How far apart are you
Yeah.
guys?
6 to 6.5.
7, yeah,
Yeah,
7
7.
years
So
apart.
you never really went to the same schools together then?
Not at the same time, but when I went to high school, Jean was like a legend. Well, and so all the high school you're a high school teacher, Curtis, you probably know.
All
All of
the
us were
time,
like,
yeah.
"You're Jean's sister?" Like, we
Mhm.
love Jean, and she set the bar so damn high that I was just like, a lot to live up to even 7 years later.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Actually, you're talking to so Sydney is the older sister. She has a sister, how like 1 grade, but how many months apart are you guys?
We are about 19 months apart,
Yeah,
and
so they're pretty.
we definitely do get comparisons.
Mhm. Yeah, I
However,
have both of them.
I think my younger sister's a little more popular than me.
You guys have different strengths and
Yeah.
weaknesses, yeah. And then I have 2 daughters, and my daughters are exactly 2 years apart. And yeah, so I was wondering, were you guys close? As a parent, I'm wondering, my daughters, they get along, but they're not close. Have you guys always been close?
I mean, I think for me growing up, Cherie was always so much younger that she was always, like, in my mind, a child for a really long
Yeah.
time. Because even, sometimes so we live together now, and sometimes we tell people I'll be like, "Yeah, we live together now," but, like, literally the last time we lived together, she was 10 years old because I was
Oh,
17 and I went
yeah,
to college. So, like, she was a literal child. Like, we've never lived together, b even she wasn't even a preteen, she was a child.
yeah,
Oh, I think it took a really long time for me, like, not until recently did I really, like, see her as, like, a full-blown adult, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But ever since we now, like, moved in together and we work on this business together, like, I very much see her as, like, my best friend, my best adult friend.
yeah.
And,
Nah,
like, coworker,
Co-founder.
co-founder, like,
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
yeah, sister goals for sure. Sydney, sister goals.
Sister goals. For my sister and I feel like we didn't get close until after I came back from college because she definitely did appreciate me a lot more now that I'm gone. So, I think this is actually a very running theme with, like, sisters from what I've heard.
Sure.
Like, very like, during childhood, not as close, but after adulthood, like, really bond into it.
Mhm.
Now, from Cherie's point of view, did you always look up to Jean, or were you always like, "Dang it, why is she so good? Why do I have to be behind her?" Or what was your mentality?
I think it was definitely hard because, like I just said, like alluded to before, like even the teachers in high school like thought of Jean highly, and our mom obviously thinks of Jean very highly. So that was really tough trying to make sure that I don't know. I like created my own path, but also like striving to be like Jean. But Jean has always been a mentor to me and um like super helpful and like helping me shape my own path and my own decisions and you know which college to go to, which internships to apply to. Jean has been there for me and with me every step of the way. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it comes across on the pod a lot.
Yeah, that's why she had to become an internet star now.
I needed to form
To
form my
form
own
her own
path.
identity, and everyone had to know about it.
Yeah, no, you see it. You see it in the podcast. I mean, you see it in your content. It comes across, and it's great. It's really nice to see, I think. So,
Yeah.
for all you sisters out there, for all you listeners who have sisters, there is a way you can actually work together.
Yeah, well, it is funny, the last thing I'll say about that is that it's funny that now that we are so close and, like, we're, like, adult, like, friends, I also learn a lot from Cherie now. Now it's, like, come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm younger by 7 years, so Jean has always been, like a mentor to me. But now that we live together, work together, are co-founders, like, can we be coworkers? Can we be peers in the workplace? And is there anything she can learn from me in the professional world? And now, yeah, that's kind of coming all together.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that you guys took different paths in college and well, I mean, different in the sense of locations. You know, Jean went to Dartmouth and then you went to Columbia Barnard and then grad school, East Coast, West Coast, different grad schools in Harvard and Stanford. So it's kind of cool. Did you do that on purpose? Did you kind of like go your own way or you know, your admissions kind of determined it a little bit too, but Cherie, did you decide I don't want to totally follow her footsteps and go to the exact same schools, or was that even part of the equation?
It for sure was part of the equation. I actually applied to go to Dartmouth because I wanted to follow my sister's path. I was so eager to. I didn't end up getting in. I was waitlisted at Dartmouth, and that was like soul crushing for me. After like growing up and visiting my sister and seeing the school for so many years. So I was waitlisted, and at the end of the day, I didn't end up going in, which might have been a blessing in disguise for me to start forging my own path.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, the first, educational uh, fork in the road. And then most recently, I ended up applying to both Harvard and Stanford, and I got into both and had the amazing decision to choose one of those schools. And I felt like Stanford was better suited for me for my career interests and goals and being in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So, between the two of us, we're like a portfolio. So it's like better to have,
Multiple touch points.
multiple, totems in the portfolio.
Yeah. No, it's working for the brand for sure.
Well, it is interesting because she talks about stuff she learns at Stanford GSB all the time, and it really is different from
It's pretty
HBS.
different.
Like the
Yeah.
classes, the tenor, the vibes. Even I visited her on campus, I guess a year and a half ago, and it's very different than
Yeah.
HBS. So it is cool. Like I said, learning things through her.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've done a little bit of stuff at Stanford and it's just different. It's just a different place. And
Yeah.
I've never really lived on the East Coast, but I can imagine, yeah, East Coast, West Coast, very different mentality. Yeah, that's cool. And actually I heard that so you mentioned this a second ago too, but you mentioned this in one of your podcasts that Cherie, Jean was kind of the one who said, "Hey, you might want to consider CS." In terms of this, were you already out here, Jean, working in tech, or were you still on the East Coast at that time when Cherie
I
graduated?
was. I think I had just started working in tech because you started school in 2013.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that at that time, I had just started working in San Francisco at Zynga, working on
Mm-hmm.
Bill. And I myself had just gone through the experience of switching from finance to tech and kind of going through the gauntlet of trying to find a job as a product manager with no technical background. So I
Yeah.
studied economics in undergrad. Technically, it's economics modified with Chinese with a minor in environmental studies.
Okay. Okay.
That's a liberal arts education for you. You can
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
make
Little
it
bit of
whatever
everything.
you want. But going through that experience myself, I was like, wow, it would have been so much easier if I had had a technical background. So she was just starting school and I was like, you have to get a CS degree. Even if you don't end up being a computer programmer, which I don't see you doing, honestly, it is just going to be such a good baseline to build a career on at this
Yeah.
moment in time in history.
Yeah, especially in that time. Yeah. And you were open to that, Cherie? You're like, okay, whatever you say. Sounds good.
No, I was pre-med for my first year, and I did a couple of internships and realized I'm like, this is not what I wanted to do. And it's through experimentation and getting those new experiences you can figure out what you like and what you don't like. And it's really important to figure out what you don't like. And so I worked in a couple of research labs, and I was like, this is not for me. And so I was open. I was just like, what else should I do? And so Jean had encouraged me to take a computer science class, even if I didn't end up majoring in it. It would be a good experience. And so I took my first class my freshman year, And then I was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool, like, let me keep going," and Jean was a very big proponent of that.
She had just spent a summer slicing mice brains in the basement of a lab
Yeah.
for, like, 10 hours a day, so it was
Yeah.
she was, open to the
She was ready.
I was ready to not be alone imaging mouse brains by myself,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, it's different.
as a 19-year-old.
Sydney, you want to slide your CS question in here?
Yes, I actually do. So this is a question that my boyfriend actually asked because he is a computer science major. But statistics show that over 80% of tech engineers face burnout at some point in their career. Have you guys experienced it since you guys are like very much into that field? And if so, how did you guys combat that?
I'm laughing because, yes, I've definitely faced burnout. Um, I would say in my career, in both tech and in finance, and I think it's, like, actually much better now just because the general, like, societal vibe is to, like I guess burnout is even acknowledged now versus before it was kind of like, no, like, the whole point of working is that you need to prove your merit and, like, you need to grind and work, you know,
Mm-hmm.
90, 95, 100 hours a week in order
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
even hit the baseline. So I've definitely experienced it. How did I combat it? Um, I think just kind of, like, reflecting and sort of deciding for yourself, like, what your values are and what is worth it and what your goals are in life, and, like, if you are actually deeply enjoying what you're doing. Because I think for some people who are working those same 90 hours, they don't feel burned out
Mhm.
because, like, actually working on a deal or, like, coding into all hours of the night gives them energy because they are, like, the very few people who are, like, perfectly suited for those roles, and they would even do the job for free. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you're not one of those people, then I would say, like, try to find whatever that is for you. And then you're kinda looking for that intersection of, like, the idea of ikigai
Mhm.
ikigai of, like, what you're good at, what society values, and what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that answer. I think it's a great answer.
Oh, thank you.
Because, I recently heard a quote, it's like, "All jobs are hard. Every job is hard in its own way." You could be, as, like, a nurse, working in healthcare, working in
Mhm.
finance, working in tech, being a teacher, an educator, like, all jobs are hard in their own way, but, like, what is the job that you don't mind it being hard because it feels good to you and
Yeah.
it drives you? So it's, like, similar to what Jean said, but I just kind of love that quote because I don't
Mhm.
think any job is easy no matter what it is, but, like, can you find the job that's, right for you or fuels you where you feel like you can run at it 100% and still love what you do, then that's the ikigai that Jean's talking about.
Yeah, and to be, like, totally candid and practical, like, that's not always the job that would necessarily, like, meet the other goals in your life, right? Like, we talked about this on other some of our podcast episodes, like, we one thing that was important to me coming out of school, and same for Cherie, was to take a job that, 1, was very prestigious because it would be, like, set us up for success for the rest of our career, and then 2, to get something that was a high paying because we knew that we had to sort of, like, own that for ourselves and be able to support ourselves even, like,
Pay off
right
student
yeah,
loans.
like, right
Yeah.
undergrad. So, is that necessarily the job that's going to, like, bring you joy for the rest of your life? Like, no, but that's also, like, honoring a commitment to yourself and, like, honoring something that you have set as a priority, right? Like, so you can also kind of think of it in terms of, like, um, I guess, phases in your life,
Chapters?
Yeah.
chapters where you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm in the chapter now where my goal is XYZ. I know that this is not necessarily, like, feeding my soul, and my mission is not to provide liquidity to hedge funds, like, for the rest of my life,
Right.
but
Right.
but it is, helping me get to my long-term goal in this way."
It's a practical step.
Mhm.
And careers are very long too. So what you're
Yeah.
doing right after undergrad isn't going to be what you would do for the rest of your life unless you want it to be, but things can change, pivots can happen. And so, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited for you to not face burnout and to hopefully find ikigai along the way.
Yeah, I think
Those
I
are
think
really
you're
great
uh
ones.
you're you're kind of a poster child for that, Cherie, right? Like you're now into content creation, which for those people who don't know, content creation is maybe 100 hours a week some weeks, right? You're doing a lot of work, but like you said, you're willing to do it because it's what you enjoy doing, and you would and you are doing it for free sometimes, a lot of times.
For sure.
Hey, let's slide into that actually real quick since we're kind of getting into the part where the podcast kind of takes form, even though it didn't start till like a year ago. But it sounds like, the older sister advice was something that you lived and now you're kind of giving it, right? Is that kind of the point of the podcast, to be people's older sister who's been through a little bit more than others who can give that a little advice?
Yeah. We call ourselves, like, the Internet's Wall Street and Silicon Valley big sisters because it's a lot of the content that we put out there is, like, educational, and it's what we wish we knew when we were going through it ourselves. I feel very lucky to have had Jean along the way, and I kinda feel sad that Jean didn't have a big sister. She's my big sister, and she very much forged her own path through it all, especially because coming from a family of immigrants, like, we don't have, like, I guess, like, the traditional access or, like, parents in this world or even, like, family friends in the worlds of, like, finance, tech, and business that could have served as role models or leaders, and so the fact that Jean and I were able to, you know, kind of, like, fight for our place in those worlds and then be in those industries and institutions that are pretty gate kept, like finance and tech and Stanford and Harvard, and be in those institutions and now come out the other end and, like, share what we've learned and disseminate that information for people who are interested or who don't have access the way that we've had the privilege to be in those spaces now. It's just very much the mission and vision of what we do every day, and also to combat burnout, it's like we feel so deeply about this that, like, this is kind of what we're meant to do. Yeah, like, I just feel it in my bones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that comes across for sure. And I think it's a neat journey too, because I think you have a voice that we don't hear that much of from your particular sector. Like there's plenty of Asian content creators, but not in what you're doing, and I think that's really cool. Like taking a step back, like who were your influences? Like you said, you single mom.
Mhm.
Was she actually a tiger mom, or did she kind of let you fuel your own fire, or where did you get this desire and this drive?
Definitely a tiger mom.
Okay, okay.
In the very traditional sense, which is why we like to say that we're the Tiger Sisters. It's part reclaiming that narrative, like, we're
Hmm.
gonna, hopefully guide you and lead you, and inspire you without the the tiger mom nature.
With
Yeah,
sisterly love.
Sisterly love.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, I think a lot of our inspiration is that, like, we were raised by very strong women, our mom being one of them and also our grandmother, and me with Jean as an influence on my life, but we've just had this tenor of just being around very strong women who, working through doing the jobs that they did and raising us. It was very much something that we looked up to, and we want to serve as a role model in that way.
Yeah, and I think you're right for this in that like there aren't really that many people who look like us, who have been in the rooms that we've been in, who can speak to experiences that we've had and are willing to talk about it, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying there are no um successful women in the corporate world. There are tons of them, but are they actually putting themselves out there and like sharing their learning, sharing their failings, sharing the things that don't get spoken about outside of those, one-to-one conversations. So I agree with you that when I look around, I really think we're like the only ones of our kind, like right now, who are doing what we're doing. And I think
Yeah.
that that kind of makes it like all the more important that I'm like, growing up, I didn't really have those role models to look to.
Mhm.
And so I would love to be that role model for someone else where they can see themselves in my shoes or like they see something that I've done that they want to like emulate or do their own version of. And they can be like, actually, it is possible. Like, look, Jean did it. So like, why can't I do it? Cherie did it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's been about a year, maybe 13, 14 months of this podcast. Top 8 on the Spotify Business Podcast chart. Congratulations on that. That's really huge.
It actually
And-
hasn't even been a year yet because our first episode was released July 15th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, almost a year. We're almost at our 1 year anniversary.
Wow. Nah, that's great. And totally independent. You're not backed by anyone.
No.
You're backed by yourselves.
Yes.
I mean,
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
trust
Well,
me. You're preaching to the choir here.
You get it.
Totally. Yeah, you get it. But that's
Yeah.
something I think people don't really realize until we like make sure we emphasize it and talk about it like 10 times. So like everything we produce, all of the episodes and like all of the writing, all of the actual like filming, the set
Editing.
design, the
Yeah.
recording, the editing, the short form content, the like writing the descriptions and the show notes. We do all of that. And
Yeah.
with matcha, we do all the sourcing. We literally go to Japan to
Yeah.
pluck the leaves. We're literally harvesting.
We package each matcha box. So that's kind of my task this weekend is that I'm going to be in a matcha packing hole watching TV and creating those boxes.
She's
Uh-huh.
tariffs. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing, yeah.
Yeah.
But we are actually at the point, like to your question earlier, Sydney, about burnout. Like we're also at the point now where we very much recognize that we have to bring people on board to start to like help us with what we're doing. It can't be just the two of us. It's not sustainable. And I feel very proud that we've gone to the point where we have, where we've done every single job that possibly could be done ourselves. And like, we haven't, it's not that we've done it to like, you know, the best possible, like, it's not the equivalent to like an expert and having the full team, but like we've done a decent enough job of everything. And now we can bring someone on because we've done it once ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they say that you've made it in podcasting when you have two things. One, you have employees, and two, you have haters. So you know,
That's funny. I haven't heard that.
that's the scale of podcast success, I guess, if you have that. But yeah, I have you, Sydney. That's pretty good, right? I have
Yeah. And 3 other interns.
that work for free.
Wow.
That work for free.
I'm on Sydney. I don't have any interns. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You know, you need to do is find a high school teacher friend, and they'll hook you up with some free labor. Let's see. So let's talk about the actual podcast. How about that? Do you know what your top episode is?
Our top episode is everything I learned at Harvard Business School in 29 minutes. So it's the
Yeah.
first episode of our most recent season, which is season 4, that we just released the last episode of. And it's actually a pretty long season. It's 14 episodes long. And it was the first time that we did what we're calling like an explainer episode, where we're
Mhm.
really kind of coming at it from almost like it's almost like a lesson.
A teaching.
It's yeah.
An
Yeah.
education, like a teaching, a learning plan
Yeah.
for our viewers.
Yeah, but in a like entertaining, fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it resonates too. Someone just searches up Harvard Business School and they can see, hey, everything you need to know in 29 minutes. You know, they're in, right? So the catchy titles always help.
Yeah, it's got almost 500,000 views on YouTube. And we bring in like a lesson plan with like case studies, for example. So it's similar to what Jean learned at Harvard Business School, similar structure, mini exercises. It's really fun to do because then people engage in the comments and share what they're thinking as well. So it does feel like a little bit of a classroom.
Yeah.
And ever since we saw how well received that episode was, we've actually been using that same sort of format for even things that are not purely like Harvard Business School like lessons, not business lessons. Even for one of the episodes we just did that was super popular is called Starting Over at 29:36. And it's basically the concept of like, how do you start over? How do you like reinvent yourself at any time in your life? These are 3 frameworks that you can use that are proven by science, whether it's like social science or like written about in famous books. And we kind of like teach you what that framework is, and then we give you examples either through other companies or people or our own personal examples of how we've applied them. And then we have the mini exercise. So it works across like all different topics.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think you have a really good balance between, okay, it's just two of us. We're going to chat about business school, but then we're also going to talk about dating on another episode. Then we're going to bring in a billionaire guest, and then we're going to bring in an author guest. It's really varied. You know, your content has lots of different facets to it. So I think the audience is resonating with it. Do
Hopefully
you?
it's not too varied.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my problem is I interviewed such a wide variety of guests that I lose half the audience every episode. But it's fun for me. I like to be curious and I want to learn. So,
Mhm.
you know, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
But who comes? You guys brainstorm the ideas together? Do you have a whiteboard with like lots of ideas on it, or how do you come up with your ideas?
Yeah, we have like a Trello board that every time we have an idea, we like, throw it up there and then we kind of just like work through all of them. And the guests, honestly, they have all been opportunistic. Like we've never actually
Mm-hmm.
gone out to like specifically seek out a specific guest. They've always been kind of like you. Like we'll ask people in our network, like, oh, is there someone actually not even like actually people will come to us and be like, hey, I know someone who is perfect for your podcast for XYZ reason. And then that's just how it like happens.
Yeah.
They've all been
Very organic.
inbound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say also for our topics, like so much iteration. If you look at season 1, but actually don't look at season 1 because it's so early days
Yeah,
that
I
the
know.
camera was not good, the audio was not, it doesn't sound good. And people
I
let us
know.
know in
Yeah.
the comments.
Oh yeah.
My point is that if you look at seasons 1 through 4, each season we are iterating on something.
Mhm.
Season, 3 was all interviews. Season 4 is a mix of interview and explainer. Season 5 coming up now will be just explainers, but we're always experimenting with something, and topics is something that we are constantly iterating on. Since we saw that everything I learned at Harvard Business School, outperformed, we're going to do that episode in a different form for Stanford. But it's just like everything is an experiment so far, which is why every day is different and it's so fun. But we come at it like, what can we learn from this? And if a video doesn't do well, it's also like, okay, I'm sad it didn't do well, but what can we learn from this? Because there's a lesson there.
Yeah. Yeah. That business school training come in handy when
Oh,
you
yeah.
analyze.
And product manager training.
Oh yeah. The
Oh, okay. Yeah.
implementation is very much like the PM mindset. Even if you look at our like thumbnails, the evolution of how it looks from literally a year ago until now, that's like a very visual representation of all of our experimentation and evolution.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm very proud of where they are now.
Mhm.
I mean, but who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully in a year we'll look back and be like, oh, those were terrible. Like those were cringe.
Isn't that funny? That, like, in the moment you're proud of something, but then in, a year to 5 years, you're like, "I'm cringe," but that means you're growing.
I know very well. Trust me. Do you set like KPIs? Do you like make goals for your like big goals for yourself and like a business, like a startup, I guess?
Yeah. We went
Totally.
through that exercise most recently about a month ago
Mhm.
where we wrote out like a strategy for the next year because we've always been pretty like generally aligned on like the strategy for the longer term. But over the next year, there's so many different things for us to tackle and so many different avenues to go. We're like, okay, we need to be really like dialed in.
Focused.
Mhm.
Very, very thoughtful, and so, we have, like, 4 different work streams, this is
Oh
this
yeah, they all have different code names.
some different projects.
One is called Project Octopus.
But it's
Oh
just
man.
fun working with my sister, that
Yahoo.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, so is there a secret to working with your sister or any partner, I guess, but particularly someone you grew up with?
Yeah, what's the secret?
The secret is she cooks and then I do the dishes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
That's actually not a bad tip since we work and live together and basically spend almost 24/7 together.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe 2 things come to mind. One, it's good to have time apart since we do spend a lot of time together.
Mhm.
And I first, went down to LA when I graduated business school, and I didn't have any friends, I didn't have a community, and Jean, like, welcomed me with her existing community, which was really nice, but then I think it was good for me to build my own community so that we could have time apart from each other. That was really important. And then also not letting things fester. If something is bothering us, like, just say it, in a way that you can with a sibling.
Mhm.
I think it's easier because we do have, like, the historical background to be like, "Hey, what's up? You seem upset," or like, "Hey, I'm not feeling this," so
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I think, like, more the trick maybe, or to me, the secret is that I think we both really, like, respect each other, both
Mhm.
as people, but also, like, professionally. Like, I think Cherie is so incredible at what she does, and I really admire her, and she's so, so, so talented. So, like, it's not like I never need to manage her, and she never needs to manage me. So we're both, like, extremely high functioning, um,
Mm.
like, individual contributors, but we're also, like, leaders at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I guess it's, like, mutual trust and respect.
it's
Right.
the ultimate trust, right?
Right. Yeah. And okay, so this is for Sydney and Jean, the older sisters here. From what I observe as a dad, what I observe is that sister relationships kind of depend on the older sister.
Mm.
Like, I feel like what you just said, Jean, about respect. Like, I think Cherie's gonna respect you no matter what because you're the older sister. But if you give her respect, I think that's gonna make her love you forever. Like if the older sister gives the younger sister a voice and respect, I think they're gonna be with you forever, loyal forever.
I think for me, like, it's not hard because Cherie, like I said, she is so talented, and also just her personality, she's a Leo. She's very much like the little sister personality, she's also the youngest
hmm
cousin. So, like, she never been afraid to, like, be the star that she is, and I think yeah, and I think that, like, now that I'm adult, like, now that I'm an adult, or now that she's an adult, like, I can really, like, recognize that in a lot of ways.
hmm like just just looking at you on YouTube, are Gene, are you more of the introvert and Cherie more of the extrovert, or I mean, not totally, but just a little bit?
I would say yes, because for me, like, I would never have done what we're doing today if it was just me by myself.
Mm,
I never like, clearly, like, I never went out and, like, forged my own identity online and career with, like, hundreds of thousands of followers. So, it's just not but it's not that it's not something maybe I didn't have, like, a seed of, like, wanting to do that in myself, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of times, like, Cherie sometimes is like, you know how parents have their children and they try to have their children, like, manifest their dreams? And,
mhm.
like, sometimes I feel like Cherie is, like, a version of that
Uh-huh.
because, like, she is just so, um she's very, like, self-confident, So, like, not only is she talented, but she believes in herself a lot more than I think I did when I was at her younger age.
Mhm.
So, I think, in those that's, like, one of the ways that I learned from her. So, like, in some ways, like, I'm stepping into my own now as well because, like, being in front of the camera, that's not really something I'd ever done. Like, speaking my truth, like, speaking
Yeah,
about, like,
yeah.
my personal life, that's not something I had ever done and, like, shared with the world. So that's all very new to me, and, like, I very much, like, admire what she's done, and, like, that's inspired me to step out and, like, sort of, like, stand next to her and do it together.
Yeah, that's cool.
I really do agree with that. I also have a Leo sister, and
What's that like
she
for you?
yes. Oh my gosh. I would say, like, since we weren't so close, like, growing up, I feel like what you said, Mr. Chin, like, about, like, letting her speak her voice really did, like, show her more respect for me.
Mm,
And just, like, hearing her out within, like, certain situations, like, listening to her and, like, really just, like, treating her like a person rather than just my sister, like, shifted my mindset so much and like, really did change our relationship to be much better. And it's, like, so strange because, like, in my head, she's always gonna be my little sister, but now she's, like, turning 18 this year, and she's, like, now a full-on adult. I'm just, like, so amazed because now she's doing the things that I'm doing.
All right. Shout out Megan.
Also in his AP biology class.
Also my student. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's so cute.
Yeah. It's hard not to compare sisters as a teacher. You know, they come in, but you guys are really different, so it wasn't super hard. But all right. Well, I think we're bumping up against the clock. So, Sydney, you want to ask one of your questions here?
Yes, I do. Let me see. With the rise of AI, a lot of jobs are being threatened, and, like, I know a lot of people my age are really scared because the job market is looking really slim for us. But I wanna focus on some positives. What are some job markets that you actually think will go up?
Mm.
Like, have more opportunities with
Yeah,
AI?
have more opportunities with AI or just, like, in general, like, people will start to, like I'm a common phrase or, like, common hearing that I hear is, like, just that, like, hard manual labor jobs are starting to, like, look more viable. However, like, I don't know. This is kind of a strange question.
No, no, I see what you're asking. I would say, well, something that Gene and I talk about a lot that, is hard to be replaced with I think is a lot of the, like, strategy and creativity.
Mhm.
I think the execution part, like, whenever you have, like, a business plan, for example, the execution part, that could be, you know, hard manual labor maybe, or, like, just actually bringing something to life. I think that AI is very good for, but everything before that, like, the strategy and the creativity, the vision of where things could go, I think that part is harder to replace with AI, um, and something that is uniquely human, that humans are very good at. I'm not gonna say it will never be replaced by AI.
I know,
I think
right?
it's a little bit trickier, whereas, like, the hard manual labor, I think, will be the first thing that will actually be replaced by AI.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think, like, human ingenuity,
Storytelling,
storytelling,
experiences.
creativity, um, like, having something I don't know, like, this is kind of a random example I thought of, but it's like, can we come up with, like can an AI come up with, like, a new version of Star Wars where they come up with, like, a whole new universe that's, like, maybe, like, a derivative of it and it be very successful? Yes. But could they have come up with the original version of it as it was?
Mhm.
Or even, like, Harry Potter, like, coming up with that very first time? Everything that AI comes up with is still based on top of human generated ideas
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So, it's just that, like, human intuition that, like, very, like I don't know, je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
And I
agree.
think that's also, like, bringing this back to maybe the classroom too. I think that's where the beautiful nature of, like, a liberal arts degree mixed with STEM, I think
Mm.
is Jean and I both studied liberal arts in some form, Jean completely with her major, me at a liberal arts school, but then we both also had a flavor of, like, STEM and math as well,
Mhm.
mixed in. I think that part is really interesting for training our brain for how to, like, work on the stuff that AI cannot yet replace.
Mhm. Yeah, I've heard that someone said you're not going to be replaced by AI, but you might be replaced by a person who knows how to use AI.
Mhm.
Like because it's here, it's going to be part of our landscape, but someone needs to put the info in, right? Like the info has to come from, like Gene was saying, the info has to come from a human, like that it's building on. I mean, in terms of like past knowledge, right? It had to be some kind of human generated thing for the AI to have anything to work with. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
Like, I guess today, like, you wouldn't ever hire someone who doesn't know how to use, like, Microsoft Word or, like, Google Docs, right? That's, like, seems to be, like, second nature. But when those came out, did those replace, like, people who were typing on typewriters and, like, stenographers? Yeah, it did, but it created a lot of other jobs. So,
Mhm.
maybe that's, like, a I just came up with that random analogy just now, but,
Yeah.
people are gonna be AI native and know how to use all these AI tools, just like today we expect people to know how to use Microsoft Word.
Yeah. No. Good
I'm
point.
just very happy to hear that as a marketing major.
So hopefully my market is still good by the time I graduate.
You don't know what job is going to be available 5 years from now. You really
That's
don't.
true.
That
That's
is
so true.
totally true.
So just
Exactly.
hang in there, Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work hard, do your best. You don't know. You don't know. All right. I think that does it for our main questions. We have a segment here we call the Yao, which is called Your Asian Opinion. So you guys can answer them independently or separate, sort of like a lightning round, but we like to expand on it a little longer. So talk as much as you want. What is your favorite non-traditional way to have matcha, like other than just with hot water?
Ooh. I love it the Americano way, which is like the more traditional way, I think, with like no milk. But I love it. I've been recipe testing. It is whole milk with matcha. It's like a matcha latte with maple as a sweetener and then some sea salt on top. So it's sweet and salty and savory because of the whole milk. It's delicious. Iced.
Yeah.
Agreed. I have
Nice.
to remake it.
Yeah.
I'm the recipe tester as a taster.
Since you have basically unlimited supply of matcha, well, you have to pay for it yourself, but yeah, unlimited. Are you not getting sick of it at all? It's something you still look forward to every day.
Oh yeah.
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 We sold out. We didn't even have any matcha left.
Yeah.
We sold out.
You have to go buy your own from the store.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. You got a podcast or a book to recommend to us?
Do you?
Well, actually, have you heard of this one, Curtis? I think maybe some of your listeners might know it. I think it's called You Belong Here or We Belong Here. What is it?
Oh, heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Actually, well, so it's talking about like the Asian American experience in the US and the diaspora. It showcases it's written by I think these two like psychologists, these two women who are Asian Americans, and it talks about the different stories of Asian Americans in the US, and it really dives into like some of the issues I think that Asian Americans face, especially with like API hate during COVID.
Yeah.
And it also brings a lot of vocabulary and language that I personally things I have felt but didn't have a way to put into words, and it did that quite beautifully. So that is one book that I read this year that really opened my eyes.
Actually, now that you say that, I think their publisher pitched it to me. I got to look at my email. I got to see if it's in there. Like the publishers send me stuff all the time, like, hey,
Like
read this
now
book.
it's Cherie approved.
Okay. Yeah, good. Actually, I got one for you, Cherie. Have you ever heard of Cecily Wong? She's an author from New York. She wrote a book called Kaleidoscope. She herself is a Barnard woman,
Oh.
and the main character is a Barnard sister. They're ambitious sisters. One is more ambitious than the other. You might want to take a look. It's a good summer read. It's a good travel book for sure.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds like right up my alley.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Kaleidoscope by Cecily Wong. She was on the podcast too, so you can listen to her. All right, flipping the script onto you guys. At the end of your show, you do takeaways from your guests. I'm going to have you do a takeaway on yourself right now. So what is a takeaway you've gotten from this podcast in the last 55 minutes?
Curtis, I love that you have Sydney on this podcast. I think it gives me a look into are you Gen Z technically, Sydney? Or you're Gen Z?
She's the
Youngest, right?
of the youngest, because
I think I'm like in the middle actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think like 15-year-olds are still the bottom of like.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so she's in the
I
middle.
think it gives me a new perspective because I don't have any like Gen Z friends in real life that I'm friends with being 29, and I think Sydney, you're like 9 years younger than me, right? 9 or 10.
I'm 10 years younger than you.
Okay, sure, 10 years younger than me. That's cool. Great, awesome correction. Yeah. So I think that has just been really interesting. Your question, Sydney, to hear what's on your mind, things that are, worrying you or things you're curious about. I think that has been awesome, and also seeing the dynamic, Curtis, with you and Sydney from coming from different generations and as different, types of hosts. And I know Sydney, you're helping out, but I think that's really unique and fun for a podcast because I haven't seen that that common.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's cool
Yeah.
to dialing in camera off from her
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah.
You have
I'm so
bedhead right now? You have glasses and
Oh my
bedhead right
god.
now?
I can't lie to you, like, I was dreaming about, like, interviewing you guys. So in my dream, I was already dialed into this interview.
Oh, man.
That
She's
is really
locked in. She was locked in when she went to sleep at 8 AM this morning, yeah. No, I think it's fun too. Actually, I didn't start it until this one kid came up to me and said, "Hey, can I help with the podcast?" And she had an interest in audio and, like wanted to help edit. Like she didn't even want to come on the air. She wanted to be an editor, right? A dream come true
Mhm.
for a podcaster. And I was like, "Sure, you want to edit?" And then I had her sit in and she was just great, just chiming in and, like asking her personal questions. So good to have you here, Sydney.
Thank you, Mr. Chin.
I know I get to be a Mr. Chin.
I don't know when I get the right to call you Curtis.
You tried it once. You felt super awkward. It felt too awkward, so she had to stop.
That's amazing. The fact that you guys were both in the classroom together too is also just very special.
That's very cool.
Yes, I love my professors and my teachers, and I can name all the teachers that I've had, starting from pre-K all the way to high school and beyond, so I think that's just a very special and treasured and cherished relationship, so that's awesome to see.
Thank you. And yeah, if you need a third tiger sister to bring in some Gen Z knowledge, if you've
Yeah.
always wanted another little sister, we got one for you right here.
Anything we said that surprised you, Curtis?
Um, Not so much surprised because you're very vulnerable on the podcast. So, we've heard a lot about you, but it's just fun. Like, actually, I was a little worried when we have this many people on the podcast of people talking over each other. But you guys have such a respect for each other as well as like you just trust each other to answer and you don't jump in and butt in or correct each other. I think that's pretty unique, to be honest, because I know if my daughters are on the podcast, they would be correcting each other or putting each other down. It just happens with sisters. So it was a good takeaway to see
Mm.
like I said, hashtag sister goals.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Like, you guys are definitely sister girls. I need to, like, go apologize to my sister now when she comes back from Paris.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Oh man.
You have time. We have 29 years together, so you
Yeah.
time.
And we like to end with our signature question where we ask our guests who their infatuation is. Infatuation is anyone Asian that you respect and admire. They could be living or deceased. So, Jean and Cherie, who is your infatuation?
I have one.
I have to think about this. I didn't read the questions ahead of
Okay.
time.
All right, Cherie, you go first then.
My infatuation, his name is Bernie Sue.
Hmm.
He is, a creator, a director. He's, I think, 3-time Emmy award winning. And, I met him maybe, 2 years ago, and Jean met him recently, but he's a creative in the space. He directs commercials now and does a lot of, um, I guess, shows and content, but, it's amazing seeing Asian creatives really take the center stage and also seeing them now recognized. And Bernie does such a good job with all the creative output that he's done and also shining a light on other um, Asian people in the space as well. So my infatuation is with Bernie Sue.
Nice.
Okay, I've had time to think of one.
Okay, good.
Mine is not deep. Mine is the opposite. Mine is very lighthearted.
Okay.
Mine is this guy named Aaron Chen, who is wait, do you know him?
Hong Kong singer?
No, not that one. He's a new one. He is
Okay.
a comedian.
Oh, yeah. From Australia.
Yes, and he is so funny.
The
I
deadpan delivery, yeah.
live. He was supposed to come perform in LA. He was supposed to go to LA to perform this coming weekend, but then he canceled. Well, we're not there anyway.
Mm.
But I really want to see him live, and like I'll like comment on his posts sometimes. And I'll be like, "Come to LA." And it's just really funny because I don't ever like comment on people's like things.
Yeah, his sense of humor, like that dry,
He's,
not even trying to be funny. Yeah.
have you seen his stuff? Have I ever sent it to
I don't
you?
think so.
I probably sent to you.
But Asian comedians in general, I'm big fan. Ronnie Chiang,
Yeah.
Wong.
Yeah.
Just seeing them.
I'd love to see
Yeah.
Ronnie live.
Yeah.
Me
I
too.
bet he's so funny.
Yeah.
Other
No,
Asians.
for sure. No, they've been mentioned. Yeah, they're all great. Yeah. But yeah, especially with the Aussie accent for some reason, his delivery with the Aussie accent.
I think his Instagram is like Chenny Life or something.
Okay, I'll have to look him up.
And his father is an artist and made this like really beautiful painting of him that he posted on his Instagram.
Wow, you really follow him. You know a lot about him.
All right, Aaron Chen.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done. Well done. I think that does it for this episode. So you can find Cherie on social media at cherie.brook and also at Tiger Sisters Podcast and also at sisters.matcha on Instagram. And then you could just search up Tiger Sisters on YouTube, or I think the official channel is Cherie Brooke Low.
Yes, Cherie Brooke Liu, and we do have some exciting news coming soon of a rebrand of the channel.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna tease it here?
Well, I guess you can kind of guess what the rebrand might be since it's Tiger Sisters content on my Cherie Brooke channel.
Okay.
But yes, so we will be doing the rebrand pretty soon.
Yeah. But we wanted to break the news on your podcast.
Breaking news.
Nice.
Never before announced. Never before.
You've heard it here.
Outside of these two people.
Oh, all right. Officially gonna be rebranded as Tiger Sisters Podcast channel
Yes.
on YouTube. Yeah, I love it. Everyone out there should go check it out. There's a topic for everyone. Look, I'm a middle-aged guy, married with kids, and I found stuff for myself on that podcast. I'm not your chief demographic, but there's stuff on there for me too.
Yeah. Well, honestly, a lot of I guess anecdotes that we've heard is that when people like parents find our podcast, they listen to it and then share it with their children or with, the younger demographic people in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been surprised. One of our guests who came on said, he was like, yeah, my daughter loves your podcast. He was like, coming on your podcast gives me street cred with her. And we're like, oh, how old is she? And he's like, she's 15. And we're like, 15? Why is she like learning about money, power, and love?
And just like power and influence is a bit young, but I'm like, hey,
never too
starting early.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I haven't shared it yet, but when she starts looking at college, I'm going to slide it her way. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I think there is definitely something for everyone there. So well done. Well done. All right. And Sydney, thank you for coming on, bringing the Gen Z vibes.
Thank you so much. I will be ordering from Sisters Matcha during the next restock.
Ah, yeah, pre-order now. Yeah, actually, I didn't plug that. Yeah, you definitely go to sistersmatcha.com. You can find ceremonial grade. Is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm.
What does that actually mean?
So, ceremonial grade, it was actually invented not by a Japanese person, but what it signifies now is like the top grade, best quality, highest quality matcha. But it is not like a regulated term. So, with so many new matcha brands coming out now, anyone can technically claim it's ceremonial grade without any certification. So, ceremonial grade is something that you should look for. But if you can also look for like first harvest, that is the best top quality for drinking and consuming, as opposed to like culinary grade or cooking grade, or even like lower grades for like just like matcha lattes. But first harvest is basically the first flush where they harvest the young tea leaves with the most nutrients and antioxidants. So that's the best and healthiest for you.
Yeah, because the leaves haven't gotten super big yet. They're kind of small and packed.
Exactly. They're like soft and like baby leaves that are really like high in nutrients. Whereas, second harvest or third harvest, they become a little woodier and harder. And they're used for, cooking matcha or even just, like loose leaf teas.
Yeah, okay. And you were out there picking some of this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hauling it in.
That's cool. That's really cool. You can see, I think you can see some on Cherie's social media. You can
Some
see
footage.
some of the footage. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure. Everyone out there, go listen to the Tiger Sisters and go watch their content. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
And guess what? Sydney and I are going to do little takeaways after you leave the call.
Oh,
Ha
I love that. Okay.
We're stealing that from you.
Oh, good. That's great. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So, Sydney, make some notes. Get your notes ready. All right, well, let's do our sign off here. So I think everyone out there, you know how to reach us. You can write to us at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. You can DM us at infatuasianpodcast. Give us a follow on Instagram at infatuasianpodcast. I'll spell out all these details in the show notes. Thanks to Jean and Cherie for coming on, and thank you, Sydney, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Chin.
Of course, and audience out there, thank you for listening. So I guess that does it for us. So on behalf of Jean, Cherie, Sydney, and myself, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.